I'm Jen McGibbon, and I'm here today with a Prodigy pro tip. In addition to being on Team Prodigy, I'm also a 200-hour RYT certified yoga instructor, and I'm here to talk about stretching. So even though disc golf is considered a low-impact exercise, there's still a lot of dynamic movement and a lot of moving parts, from our ankles, our knees, our hips, our backs, shoulders, elbows, wrists, neck. There's so many moving parts that we have to make sure that we warm up properly before we hit the course. So often, whether it's a tournament or casual play, I see golfers get straight out of their car, head right to hole one and unload their bag, throwing putters at 30%, mids at 50%, and then fairways and drivers, thinking that they're increasing their speed. And really, after observing, it's the same motion over and over again. And whereas it's good to move around and get all these moving parts warm, you're really putting yourself at risk for more injury and doing more harm than good. So I'd like to talk a little bit today about stretching before and stretching after your round. Before your round, it's important to have a dynamic warm-up. And what a dynamic warm-up means is that you are moving your body in a fluid motion versus just holding a pose and remaining stagnant. A lot of people like to use towels. Towels are great. It provides some sort of resistance. But I like to use a disc when I warm up dynamically prior to my round. And the reason is I don't lose any tension, I don't lose any resistance with a towel, and I can hold my disc and it won't move or bend or fold. My disc of choice warming up is a PA4, and the reason why is it has a nice deep dish that I can really wrap my fingers around and hold it firmly. So typically to start, because the terrain varies from course to course, our ankles and our knees are really susceptible to injury, rolling them, twisting them. So I like to start out with some really simple ankle rolls. And usually I'll write the alphabet, go through A through Z, and that way I'm getting different movement within my ankles. And I'll continue this motion until my ankles are feeling nice and warm, typically just about a minute or so. And I try to concentrate on my breathing as well. Calm myself down, focus on the inhales and the exhales, and that helps during your round as well. Another movement I like to do is just very simple. I can actually go this way. It's just some knee raises. You can pull your knee to your chest, and this warms up your hip flexors and all of your leg muscles as well. If you can find a parking spot, a parking lot, or even just a nice wide area, something flat so you don't have to worry about the uneven terrain. Some low lunges are good. And this is where you can hold your towel or your disc. You can also add in a twist as well. And that'll start to warm up your core as well. You'll see a lot of golfers that like to throw a towel, warming up their snap. You can do the same with the disc. I like to hold my disc with both hands and just twist from side to side. Also warming up your core. And whatever side, if you're a right-handed player or a left-handed player, it's always important to have balance within your body. So if you're right-handed and you're working on stretching this way, you're doing a lot of twisting on this side. Well, that can also lead to injury, so you need to make sure that you're balanced on the left side and pulling through and twisting as well. So with my disc, once I've done my ankle rolls and I've done my knee ups and I've done my lunges, I like to get fluid with it. So I grab my disc and I bring it up over my head and I'll lean from one side to the other. And this is where a towel or a disc really comes into play, because I can pull with my opposite arm and get a nice long stretch on one side, and then inhale up, and then exhale to the other side. And once I'm feeling nice and warm on both sides, I'll start to add a roll in it to warm up my spine, focusing on pulling my opposite arm to add the stretch. And up again, and I'll repeat it to the other side. Rolling through my spine, coming around. And you can get bigger and bigger with these circles as the warmer you get. If you'd like to keep a little bit wider base of support for balance, you can definitely do that, and it makes it a little bit easier once your rolls start to come into a bigger circular motion. And so remaining fluid and twisting up, it's a good way to warm up your whole body. Keeping your arms overhead, you'll start to really feel it in your shoulders and in your arms, and you'll start to go, okay, my muscles are definitely waking up, ready to play. So I'll continue with this motion, nice and circular. And then I try to remember that as I continue into my warm-up, into hip swings, going back and forth, forward and back, side to side. And this just is more dynamic motions to get warm. Now after your round, it's important to make sure that you're doing some static stretching as well. And static stretching is what most of us grew up with in gym class or any sports, where you stand, put your arms up, bend over and touch your toes, but you're holding each of your stretches for an extended amount of time. This is also where the disc comes into play. So with your hands, and I'll turn around here, shoulders definitely need to get stretched out after the round because we're throwing with our arms, and this is where a lot of injuries come into play. So making sure you can grab your disc, and if you lack the flexibility to grab your hands, you can grab a disc. And with your bottom hand, gently pull down as you try to point your elbows straight up to the sky and pull over. And if you're anything like me, my shoulder flexibility varies between shoulder to shoulder. So whereas I can actually touch my hands here, on my opposite hands, I'm a little bit tighter. So the disc is really good to hold on to and provide some sort of assistance in pulling over that shoulder. So in holding your static stretches, it is extremely important to breathe, because anytime you hold, you're constricting your muscles. So if you maintain fluid breath, whether it's inhaling on a 4 count, inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, and then exhaling on the same count, you're slowing down your breath and you're relaxing. So with static stretching, usually I like to sit down, especially after a round. On a lot of these courses that are either in the mountains or on the hills, my legs get pretty tired. So focusing on my legs, making sure that I'm getting a nice deep stretch, whether it's a forward fold, focusing on your hamstrings. Keeping your feet flexed will maintain some resistance in your legs as well. And then exhaling into your stretch. And then coming up, you can cross your legs, work on a twist. This will really stretch out the sides of your hips. And talking with a lot of golfers, hip problems are pretty common these days. And if you think about it, the courses that most of us play, we're hiding behind a bush, trying to scramble out of a tree, so there's a lot of deep lunges, side straddles, our hips get a lot of work. So the best stretch that I can offer is, in yoga we call it pigeon. And the way you get into pigeon, the easiest way is to come up on all fours, and you can place your right knee kind of in a staggered lunge and bring your ankle as far as you can comfortably towards the front of your hands, extending your back leg and sinking back into your hips. If this is uncomfortable, as it could be, just ease into it and remember to always, always breathe. Here you're going to feel a great stretch in the back of your leg, in your glutes, in your hamstrings, and your hip flexors. If you'd like to bring it down to your hands and relax, you'll feel a little bit deeper stretch. And you can relax this back leg as well, not keeping it propped up, just sinking deeply into it. A lot of these static stretches, I would recommend holding the pose for about 15 to 20 breaths. So you're really getting a nice, deep, long stretch. But it's important. We are athletes, we're disc golfers, and we have to take care of our bodies, because even though the discs are great and we need them for our job or for play, really your body is the machine and you have to take care of it. So thanks so much for tuning in to this Prodigy Pro Tip, and we'll see you stretching out on the course.